All right, hey everyone, Michael here with Michael Reviews Everything. I just got back from the movie theater. I'm so excited. I didn't even set everything up like I typically do. But hey, I have watched some great movies lately. I watched Greenland 1 and 2 back to back, and a few other amazing movies, and have not been keeping up with my reviews. So I just got home from How to Make a Killing, the pre-release. It doesn't come out for a few more days, but I just got home and watched it. And so while it's fresh on my mind, I'd rather give you the review. Yes, maybe not as perfect with my cool lighting and blah, 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 and the right angle that's more flattering, but who cares? I'll turn on this lamp. Does it make it any better? Now I just look scary. That's okay. We're going to leave it on. So here's the deal. It was an absolutely great movie. Don't remember the director. Don't remember the even the guy, the main character. Don't even remember the actor who played him. It's the same guy that we saw in Running Man, right? So he's kind of like I feel like he was a B-rated B-rated Harrison Ford for a while, but he's getting bigger and bigger with his films. I've seen him in stuff I didn't like, and I've seen him in Running Man, which I did like, and now I saw him in How to Make a Killing. So here's the basic thing. Spoilers are coming now. The movie's not out yet. You most likely have not had a chance to watch it, but here is what happened. You've got a very wealthy family. It's like old school. It's like upstate New York. It's old money, okay? It's old money. And they gotta keep up the looks, right? They gotta keep up, you know, uh, the perception that they have everything figured out. So Mary, 18-year-old daughter, she ends up seeing a boy that's cute, going and spending one night with him, and boom, pregnancy test positive. Goes to her dad. It's a very crazy scene where you just see the shadows on his face, and it's absolutely insane. But he says, in this lavish home. Essentially, you got to get rid of the baby. And she's like, I'm 18. Isn't it my choice to make? He says, yes, it is, but not under my roof. So she keeps the baby and she names him Beckett. Well, she gives birth to the baby. And as she gives birth to the baby, the dad is looking at the baby being born and literally just kills over dead, has an aneurysm at like 19 years old or whatever, just freaking out. They saw a baby. And then as he's growing up, his mom is raising him in Newark with not a lot of money, but shows him how to shoot bow and arrow and shows him how to dress classy and really wants him to be prepared because she said someday you are going to inherit the family's money. All you have to do is wait because he's the youngest living in the family. Now, I don't know how that didn't change because all of a sudden, boom, he's like 35, and apparently no one else had kids and whatever, so he becomes the youngest still. And there's somebody who adopted like 11 kids, his aunt, I guess, but that's not really mentioned because just jumping on, we got some spoilers and How to Make a Killing, the movie I just walked out of a pre-release. And essentially, there's this girl Julie that he liked, he thought was cute, and they held hands when they were kids, and it was really cute, and basically they see each other as adults again. Now they split ways, of course, when they're young because he is no longer within the family of that stature, of that pride, of that money, and her family certainly is, and she marries into another family with money, that old money deal. So what happens next is they don't see each other for many years. They see each other again. He is working at a shop of suit where they wearing suits. So I don't know if he's a suitor or he's just running errands, but whatever they're doing is he is just working at a suit shop. Now, who walks in? Julie. Now, I don't know if she knew where he was and followed him. I kind of feel like maybe, but she comes in, she's engaged, and basically she's like, he goes, "Can I ask you out?" And she's like, "Bad timing." So she takes off. But she says, "Hey, what about the family? Did you inherit all that money yet?" And he goes, "No, not yet." And she goes, "Well, why don't you just kill everybody else and you'll inherit the money?" She kind of laughs and leaves. And she goes, "Call me when you kill everybody and inherit the money." And he's like, "All right." And so he has that idea. He's like, maybe it's his idea, maybe it's her idea. We don't know, but he starts killing off his family members, his cousins. one and one, his aunts, his uncles. He just starts killing them off. And then when it comes to one uncle, he goes to kill him, and it's a nice guy. He actually gives him a job at the firm, and they get into he gets into financing. He works his way up, and then the guy actually has a heart attack and dies, and he doesn't have to kill him. So there's this little bit of a turmoil, but the movie starts off with him giving confession to a Catholic priest inside a jail cell because he's got 4 hours until they're going to give him the death sentence. That's right, for murder. So this whole time he's actually narrating, first person narrating his story of how he murdered his family to this priest, essentially giving confession. And because the priest can't just tell everybody what's going on, then he's kind of letting himself clean. He's really not really repenting, but he's really just uh confessing. That's like the right. I'm a Jew. I don't do Catholic confession. I don't know a whole lot about it, but apparently he's confessing through the bars of the jail cell. So what happens is, of course, he's knocking off a few of his cousins. People start to notice. The FBI starts to notice. Julie starts to notice. She hits on him, and he's just like, no. He ends up dating the girlfriend of one of his cousins that he murders, which is crazy. He gets to a point where things are good. His uncle passes away. He's running the firm. He's got a great position. He's inherited it. He's got a great girlfriend that he loves. She moves in with him. He gets a great house. You think everything would be enough, and part of it was, is it enough? Am I content? Yes. Is being content enough? I don't know. I think that's a question we all have to ask ourselves, which I had to ask myself in the movie. Is being content enough when it comes to money and stuff and status and your house and everything else? Is it truly enough? So it was kind of an emotional ride because you're like questioning your own morals as you're watching this whole movie. Like, oh, just kill him. Yeah, she's horrible. Just, she's a horrible person. Just kill this little woman. His aunt adopts 11 kids from 11 countries and just screams at them and treats them horribly. And it's just like, yeah, she can just die. And so he kills these people in these very creative ways. It's like he had to have studied and done some science to kill off his family members. First one was easy. He ties an anchor to his foot while he's drunk, throws him into the water. No big deal, right? So, but it gets more and more and more intricate. And you're like, I never even thought of that. It was good to think of that. So here we go. Julie's back. Julie shows up in his apartment. She wants a loan for 300,000 from the firm. He's like, I'm not going to do that. And she's like, well, I have pictures of you. And yeah, I have pictures of you. You've been followed. Every time somebody in your family dies, you're there impersonating someone else. I'm going to send these to your girlfriend. I'm going to send these to people, and I'm going to ruin your name, basically. So, though he may have been content, he could no longer be content. He tells her to go away. She shows up in his apartment, and she is trying to blackmail him. So, eventually, she says, she goes to his work and she goes, you have 30 minutes to write my husband a check for 300,000. So he writes the check, he runs there real quick, and her Julie now, her now husband is there. They grew up together, and he's drinking, and Beckett's writing the check, and he basically says, "She's never loved me anyway. She's always loved someone else. She's gonna take the 300,000 and she's gonna leave." And then they get into a little fist fight, and then Beckett takes off. Well, we just fast forward the movie, and all of a sudden, the only one left is the grandpa of Beckett, which is his mom's dad, who is one that turned him away. And actually, when his parents died, oh, forgot. Beckett's mom died when he was very young. She had cancer, developed very quickly. He ended up being in bouncing around the foster care in Jersey for a few years, I think 6 years. So he went to the family, and the grandpa wouldn't help him. His grandpa's name is Whitelaw. Interesting first name, Whitelaw. Sounds like an old money name. Wouldn't help him. So eventually he's just like, he's the last one. So Weil actually sends him an invitation. Happens to be on his engagement party night. He decides, screw it, I'm just gonna go after Whitelaw anyways, after that um fight with Julie's husband. So things are okay. They have a big party. Not yet, not yet, not yet. So sorry, I'm not reading off notes. And so Whitelaw basically hands him a gun, says, point it at my chest, and he's looking at it. Becca doesn't kill him. He tries to leave, but the doors are locked. And all of a sudden, Whitelaw comes out with a shotgun and he goes, you should have killed me. You had the chance. And like shoots at his arm, tries to kill him. And he's just like, "You came here, you killed my family. You're coming here to take my mom, to kill me, to take my money." So Beckett runs to another room, grabs the arrow, and pew pew, kills him with a couple arrows. And then FBI come in, and it was self defense. Not in trouble. He inherits everything. He inherits the entire estate finally, like his mom wanted him to when he was just a little boy. But really, was it supposed to be with so much death? So much questioning of moral code, so many times where he did things he knew he shouldn't do. It's just not him. Greedy, 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 evil things. But then he's there, the woman he loves, living in the massive estate, having everything he could have wanted. He has a big inauguration party, being inaugurated into some big high society, and the FBI come. Beckett, you're under arrest for murder. And he goes, "Murder for who?" And they say the guy's name. It's Julie's husband. They say the letter opener had your fingerprints on it, and he was stabbed to death. He didn't even kill him. He's always in jail. He's in jail getting the death penalty for someone he actually didn't even kill. What happens next? Julie shows up. After he tells all this to the priest, Julie shows up and says, uh, maybe there was a letter. And he goes, "Was there a letter? Did he write a letter? Like, like a suicide? They're insinuating like a suicide letter." And he goes, "Well, what do you want? What do you want?" And she looks at him through the glass and she goes, "Everything. Right over the estate." She goes, "Write everything over to me." And then at this moment, you realize he was conning and trying to get his way to the top. She's the one that told him, "Kill your family, then call me." And they're on the phone between the glass. She called him technically through the glass. Julie planned it the entire time. She knew that he had the fire and the tenacity to kill his family and be with her. And yes, she loved him, but also loves money. Her husband was broke, and you find out her husband wrote a suicide note and then stabbed himself with the letter opener, slit his own throat. And she found him like that, or maybe she murdered him. We don't know. All we know is that he's dead. Finally, Beckett gets out of jail. He sees his ex fiancee. She gives him a locket with the hair of of his mother. She says nothing. She drives away. And behind her car is Julie, that conniving woman. And he's just like, "What are my options?" He goes, gets in the car with Julie, and they drive to the estate. At the end of the film, he repeats something that his grandpa said, something along the lines of, a lot of people struggle with that voice in their head telling them what's right, telling them what's wrong. But if you turn your head to the wind just right, that voice becomes a whisper. You could tell the grandpa made it to the top, maybe doing something similar. And now he made it to the top. Beckett and Julie deserve each other. They're both horrible, horrible people. This movie is a tragedy after all. They make it to the top. They have uh, $10 billion. They run $10 billion of the estate, this massive, beautiful house, on all this property, upstate New York. They're both, well-known last names. They're together. She's always loved him. She's always wanted to be with him. She manipulated him to murder his family to get the estate side over to her, and now he's going to spend his life making her look good. He lost the woman he loved. He lost the things he loved. He lost himself, and now he has nothing without Julie. And that's the movie. It's blowing my mind because part of me is like, I want to make a bunch of money. I got to do something. I got to get serious. I got to get high society. I got to work hard and get what I want. And the other part's like, he did it in such a horrible, gross way. I don't want to be that guy. The killings, they were not that gruesome. It wasn't about the killings. It wasn't an action movie. Yeah, rated R. But for when the mystery movie, it said rated R, and during the films, the trailers they were playing before, the studio that kept popping up is A23. And I was like, So I Googled what A23 movies are coming out soon. And the only one coming out in a few days was How to Make a Killing. That's when I knew what it was, because if I saw, usually the studio will have more of its own trailers, and if it was something else, then the other thing it might have been was Scream 7. I've never seen any of the other Screams other than most of the first one, so I'm so thankful that it wasn't the Scream franchise because I would have known nothing about it. So the standalone movie was good. No, the standalone movie was great. Google said there's an after credit scene. I held my bladder and I stayed to the very, very, very end. There was absolutely no after credit scene. The closest thing was Julie picked him up from the prison. And then there was a point where it shows the priest, and the priest is drinking at the bar, and Beckett says something along the lines of, "It is a tragedy. It's a tragedy for you because basically you know all of this with all your training as a priest. You know all of this. So there's so much evil in the world." So he's just having a drink as he's trying to figure out. The priest can't tell anybody that he admitted to murdering all those people. The priest can't tell anybody. The only one that he got in trouble for was the man that he didn't actually murder, and he was set free because of the suicide note, which was real or not, we really don't know. So here's the thing: it plays into that high society dark side of money, right? Of old money, and it plays into this someone who is the underdog who can really do anything and crawl up the ladder and become somebody who make money, but at what cost? And that's the fun part. It makes you question yourself. At what cost would you become insanely wealthy and influential? Hmm. Well, he gave up pretty much everything. All right. Appreciate you guys. Love you. This is Michael with Michael Reviews Everything. Put in the comments below what you would have me review next. Until next time, thank you for your likes. I see the likes here. I see a bunch of people commenting, say hi. Hey, guys, good to see you. And don't forget to subscribe. And yeah, do the comment. Helps my channel, helps the algorithm. Like I said, comment right now. Tell me what you would have me review. Is it a movie? Is it food? Whatever. Have me review something.